On the left hand, landing burn, 13 ignited. We're now down to 3 Raptor engines. We can see those chopsticks now in the rear.
Attention all flight crew members, this is the final go, no go poll for operations. Raptor 1.
Raptor 1's go.
Raptor 2.
Go.
Stage 1.
Go.
Stage 2.
Go.
Flight directors go for launch. We have liftoff.
Vehicles pitching downrange. Max Q.
Ship engine startup.
Stage separation. Booster back burn.
On Ovian 0, 30 seconds till catch decision.
Confirming 30 seconds to make that decision.
10 seconds till catch decision.
Hot stage separation confirmed.
Flight directors go for booster return. Operator go vote is set true. We are go for catch.
Booster coming in hot for booster catch.
Booster FTS is saved.
And ignite 13 of those Raptor engines, and this view is incredible right now. I can't wait for us to hear the sonic boom.
Booster landing burn startup.
They reached out to you to ask you to make a video already because there's another team taking care of this. Because they asked me to ask you to make a 10-second video of your possible talk that you want to give.
We can see those chopsticks now. This is absolutely insane. First ever attempt we have successfully caught the Super Heavy booster.
The marketing team thinks this like a good promotion or
The Villa had talked to booster.
Ship video is power functional.
Starship has entered the atmosphere. Starship is approaching the heating phase of entry.
Landing bird startup.
Starship is on target. Starship has landed.
Okay. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Nana and I run FinTech is Easy. I am here with Onome who runs Green Tickle. And we started by showing, we're here to talk about on a live stream, the SpaceX IPO. If you're watching this live, SpaceX just opened trading and we started with a few videos of the more popular SpaceX launch videos, especially the one where they use the fork to catch the Falcon.
There's a bit of an echo. There's a bit of an echo. I don't know. So can you confirm?
And live streaming problems. Let me fix that. Let me fix that while you do. You can take up the intro. Let me fix that. Is that okay?
Okay. I suspect in the video. Yeah. So echo is out. I guess I'm live, so I'd have to to hold the fort while Nana tries to figure it out. So good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone, wherever you are around the world. My name is Onome. I am a co-partner at Green Ticket Sales. Um, and yes, while we tend to discuss a lot of Nigerian equities on Green Ticket Sales, this is a historic event. And so we thought both FinTech is easy and Green Ticket Sales thought we need to come together to discuss this. It's a historic day around the world, historic for three reasons. Historic because you having the biggest initial public offer in the world are beginning to trade. And the term initial public offer means when a company sells shares to the public for the very first time. So we're having that with SpaceX offer. Secondly, it's historic because the company trading, by virtue of SpaceX trading in public markets and going by the valuation or the price at which the public offer went, it would make Elon Musk the first trillionaire in the world. That's a record deal. I can remember, I think it was some years ago, 15, 20 years ago, when Bill Gates became was the richest man in the world. It was a huge thing. So, um, thirdly, and I guess maybe for everyday people, there are two 3A, 3B, as we say in Nigeria when you're writing exams. There's 3A part, meaning for employees who were paid in stock, who have been paid in stock all this while, they are going to be able to sell that stock, um, and they will be able to sell it at a decent price. So that's some good money. The 3B parts of things, and I guess this would concern everyone in the land of green, white, green, who mostly be listening to us, is people will wonder, okay, this is a hot stock. It's Elon Musk. He has a cult following. Do I get into this stock? No. Um, Life, like law, like investing, has no right answer and no wrong answer. If you were part of the one of the parties to the offer, if you were on the underwriter or any of the investment banks involved, I'm sure they would say, well, this is a great investment. Get in now, you need to buy it. It's Elon Musk. What can go wrong? They are doing their job, and I don't fault them for that. On the flip side of things, I just use some simple math. Imagine, to put it in context, people who buy this stock now are buying a company at 90 times its revenue. So imagine if SpaceX makes $1 as revenue and you're buying it now, it will mean that you're buying it at a valuation of $90. The only way it would fly would be if this company can grow from that hypothetical or that simplistic $1 in revenue, can grow it by maybe 100% for 4 or 5 years, and then the valuations maybe would start to make sense. But that's a near impossible task because at the last numbers we saw, this firm grew by 30%. So really, it's buying it now is tricky. You have to assume that they can probably do that. That's a really, really tall order to do. Um, Now some might wonder, I discussed this a few minutes ago, that okay, if it's so pricey, why is it so expensive? Why did regulators and financial markets let this public offer be this expensive? Well, it's a matter of choice. You are allowed to buy, you're allowed to sell, but there's a walk into this. Now, typically, you have a kind of usually with public offers like this, generally you have a bidding process. So different firms come in with different prices. Those prices are all put together, and then based on the feeling, the feedback, you then arrive at what the offer price is. It's a tricky process. It's both art and it's both science. The science part is obviously if you price your offer way beyond the maths can be explained, it's not going to fly. But the art side of things is that people have different views about if a stock is expensive or if it's cheap. And there are different camps. If you are a company that is selling shares to the public, you want to sell your shares as expensive as you can, because that way you don't need to have to sell too many shares to raise the money you want to raise, which is good for you. And you also want to raise money. So the more expensive the offer is, the better for you if you are the firm selling the shares to the public. Now, on the other hand, if you're a buyer, you want it to be as cheap as possible. And somewhere in between is where you usually would land. Um, if it's cheap, while it's good for the buyer, for the seller, that's not good because you are, as we say in finance, you're leaving money on the table. So it's a balancing act. You don't want your public offer too expensive that it discourages people, and you don't want it too cheap so that you can't, you have to sell a larger number of shares or you're leaving money on the table. And so what SpaceX has done is to say, okay, um, let's price it this way. And what we have is that you have the pricing fixed. So that bargaining process usually would have to arrive at a price. It didn't happen. SpaceX simply said, look, we're selling this at 135. If you don't want it, don't buy. Um, what what gave them the balls to do that? It's simple. It's the power of Elon Musk. Elon Musk has the huge, there's no other word to use but cult like following. Um, Tesla has had immense success. That immense success has made lots of investors in Tesla money. So people who've held Tesla maybe 15, 20 years, probably if you've held Tesla for over a decade, you've made some good money. And so that belief, that track record that Elon Musk has, and also maybe because of his relatable persona, means that people would buy into whatever venture Elon is running. And that's what we're seeing um, with SpaceX. Uh, I would then say, maybe as I wrap up for now, what would then be the options? Really, there are two ways to look at it. The first option is to say, look, let me wait 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, and then buy into the stock. Um, SpaceX does three things. There is the AI component of SpaceX, where they have AI infrastructure, there's Grok, which everybody knows. There is the connectivity component, and that's your popular Starlink internet service. And then there is the space part of things, which is the manufacture and send rocket ships and space equipment into space. It's this way it makes SpaceX a unique firm because all of these things could be done individually. You could have a standalone AI firm, and that's where you have your likes of your Anthropic and a few other players. Um, you could have a standalone space firm. I don't know if Richard Branson's space firm still function. I guess it is. You could also have a standalone internet service firm or connectivity firm. All these ventures could be standalone entities. What that then means is that SpaceX is not it's a unique animal, but it's not the only animal in the jungle. There are lots of players around all these sectors. Some might say probably even better in some ways. I mean, when you look at AI, Grok is the most fantastic AI model, the better model. So um, there's competition. They would set goals. They may fail in meeting some of those goals. I mean, sending a rocket into space is a 50-50 venture. You can do all the science and something small fails and it doesn't work, it blows up. So there will be events like that that will send the stock price tanking. You also have the volatile nature of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is an extremely unpredictable personality. In fact, when I read the prospectus, which is interesting, they said, look, there's a key man risk with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the largest shareholder, so he can has overwhelming control on the board. He is the chief tech officer. He is the CEO. If anything were to happen to Elon Musk, um, if he were to fall ill, if he were to wake up one morning and say, you know what, I want to do other things, man. I want to go chill. That's a risk because Elon is such a huge, huge persona in this firm. And so that is a risk in itself. So if slash when that happens, I mean, would that be the end of the company? No. But you should, I mean, succession is a difficult thing. So everybody looks at Microsoft after post Bill Gates, Apple post Steve Jobs, and you say yes, well, they're still standing, they're doing well. But remember that Microsoft struggled for a decade plus before its current run. Apple, well, Tim Cook has done a great job. Some may like it, some may say he hasn't innovated, but Apple's doing fine. Apple's chugging along well. So succession isn't that easy. So wait a few months, a few years, see if the price drops a bit, which most likely it will, and then you can get it. Another option is to say, look, I could look for a passive investment that gives me exposure to SpaceX. So I could look for an exchange traded fund. I could look for a mutual fund. Now, by virtue of the size of this company, those passive investment vehicles would have to buy SpaceX stock, right? So if you don't want to be bothered with holding SpaceX, and I'm sure somebody's probably created it or will create it. I don't know. I'm sure there should probably be an Elon Musk ETF, an ETF comprising companies that Elon Musk has a stake in. So that would be an interesting thing. But by virtue of its size, you should have this company trading in those passive collective investment vehicles, and then you can then buy it. So those, in my views, I think the best ways to approach this stuff. Yeah. So I think at this stage I would take a pause.
Thanks for that, Onome. I think I wanted to first start with, we didn't do the normal disclaimers, which is nothing we say here can be taken as legal, tax, investment advice. Everyone should do their own research, and for those that will be joining us, I will repeat that for them. I think I'll try to see if I can let in some of our first guests so we can just set the stage for what people want to hear about and ask about. Thank you. Okay, none of them is written. I think another thing I wanted to add, because this is a fintech newsletter, I think I wanted to add that at SpaceX being valued at 1.7 billion, they are now officially the biggest fintech in the world, because XAI, they also own X Money, so they've now surpassed Alibaba and JP Morgan as the biggest financial services companies in the world. And this live stream is also streaming on X, so we have to thank our landlord for allowing us stream responsibly. But I think when you were speaking, one thing I wanted to ask is, if everyone is saying it's expensive, I think I don't want to use the word overvalued, because like you rightfully said, it's a behemoth of a company that is doing three things in once, but it is expensive. If it is that expensive and the market is supposed to be efficient, why are we still here? And why are we having these discussions and commentary around how expensive it is?
I mean, that's a great question. I know people say that's a great question. They either answer your question, they dance around the question. But I'll answer the question. It's expensive. I mean, it's starting at the top, so to speak, right? Like Drake, it's not starting at the bottom, it's starting at the top. And if you're starting at the top, you can go one of two ways. You can you can go higher, you can go lower, or you can just kind of stay where it is. So yes, it is expensive. But it's some ways the company, usually when you're raising money as a company, you have the shorter end of the stick. So you're battling between your
And this is where I think I've lost him for a bit, so I will try and hold the fort while he comes back. So first of all, I think to repeat, SpaceX is raising 75 billion and the biggest IPO the world has ever seen. in context, the second biggest IPO the world has ever seen after SpaceX is that of Saudi Aramco, who raised 29 billion. So that's almost 3 times the same size as SpaceX is raising today. According to so many analysts and numbers people, retail investors have essentially bid for allocation for almost 100 billion of that. So that means everybody using their favorite investment apps will be getting access to SpaceX IPO on day one. And while I'm waiting for Onome, I think I'll try and bring in one of my first guests to share his own perspective. Hello. Hello. Yeah, we lost Onome and I'm okay. Hello. Getting them back.
Hello.
Hello, Martin. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today. Good evening, good morning. Where are we speaking to you from?
Somewhere in the abroad. Hello?
Are you
Are you-
running away? Are
Okay,
you
I
in
can hear you.
hiding? Yes. Are you in hiding?
Yes, so small. My enemies are very much looking for me, so I'm trying to hide myself. How
Okay.
you doing?
Fine. Thank you. Okay, can you introduce yourself for the audience, for the people watching?
Well, Martin, UX designer and part-time investor.
Okay, thank you. So the first question I'm going to ask is, are you going to be buying the SpaceX IPO today?
Somebody's chatting with you. I don't know if you are seeing it.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Are you going to be buying the SpaceX IPO today?
No. No.
Okay.
Legendary levels of dumping are about to happen, and I don't want to be among.
Are
Plus,
you?
even if
What
they
does
were not
that mean?
even if they were not even dumping it on people, I still would not be interested. I'm not very convinced about Mr. Musk and his antics.
So two questions there. If what do you mean by legendary levels of dumping? If the company wanted to raise 75 billion and we're hearing that they oversubscribed by over 200 billion.
So for me, it's more on the behavior of the things that happened before the IPO, like the merging of unprofitable companies together, like including Twitter, and including Twitter into the whole package, merging Twitter with SpaceX and XAI. It just seemed very sneaky. And aside the fact that there are a lot of promises that we are waiting on Mr. Elon to fulfill, which he hasn't, and for which his Tesla has already been priced and valued at. His future with the what's the name of that red like the Roadster and the robo taxis and things like this. For me, the SpaceX IPO is basically in the same vein. Very lofty ambitions, and I believe I believe quite overvalued. I would think that the aspirations would be more humble, right? 1.75 trillion is being the whole thing is being priced like it has already achieved its goals and its dreams of doing things on the moon and going to Mars already. I think it's a pretty lofty valuation. Not bad businesses, but very lofty. Yeah.
So I was also reading something in preparation for this, which is around the lines of what you just said. Facebook, which was also one very mega IP of the last decade, also had something that you are projecting, where they IPO'd at the future value, and they had 2 years where they were basically in the wilderness. But after 10 years, it seems like they've met and surpassed some of the targets they set on IPO day. Do you think that markets and even retail investors who will get to are pricing all those things in today, especially with everything happening in the world of AI, in the world of communication, and in the world of rockets?
For me, I think it's even a different environment, a different landscape, because everyone there's like a lot of liquidity in the system, especially for the Americans. The space for just being able to invest in stocks is now open to pretty much anyone across the world. I mean, during Facebook's time, we didn't have bamboos and things like that where you could do any where you could participate in an IPO. So um, the, I feel like there's so much stuff going on that they can basically get any money they want based on just pure vibes. And sorry, what was the main question again? The last thing you asked.
The last part is essentially if everything you're saying that can happen in the next 10 years or in the next 5 years, is the market pricing that in today? And because we have the example of Facebook, for example, who went through that down cycle before coming back up, and then it's now like nobody remembers the Facebook IPO price compared to today.
But at least in Facebook's time, it was quite novel, right? I mean, it wasn't novel because we had MySpace and other stuff, but it seemed like a really somewhat revolutionary social media company, right? Where they came up with the ads, with the whole, they improved on the ads from Google and things like that, and it did feel. I was in school when Facebook started or something like that, and I found it very interesting. My first job was doing Facebook for my first where I worked at GTB. At that time, Facebook was a really revolutionary piece of stuff. For SpaceX, it's not like it's all that revolutionary, right? And I know that they are they are pricing what is going to happen in the next 10 years already, but I don't think that's a very wise thing to do because some of it is not they will not happen, and we have indications that some of the ambitions will be dialed down. Though in the IPO, in the prospectus and all, they make it look like it's definitely going to happen, like a expansion of human consciousness and things like that. Meanwhile, in real life, when in 2018 he said that we'll all be in Mars by 2020, this is 2026 now, and now they have said that we actually will start on the moon, right? And then work for Mars over the next 20 years. And we haven't even gotten to the moon yet, right? We just did a flyby, and he has already made the process of getting to the moon so complicated. Now they are going to use 11 starships or something in order to be able to land like just one person. It just gets so complicated that evaluation has basically outstripped has outstripped far their ambition, what they can do, and what they actually think that they will be able to do.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And my last question before we let you go, because it's a Friday and you may change your mind depending on how the price moves. And I know you pay
No,
more
no,
attention
no.
to
I'm
price.
not. I'm not. I'm not.
Okay.
I know that he's very popular. People are going to make generational wealth from this stuff, right? I mean, I don't begrudge. I mean, if you can make his money, let him make his money. But I know the.
So, because none of us knows what the market does, and we like to talk as if we know what the markets will do, how would you feel if in the next 6 months or in the next 12 months, the price 10x's? That's ambitious, but how will you feel if in the next 6 to 12 months this goes from a
Oh,
2 trillion company to a 6 trillion company and you didn't buy?
oh. I would like to think that I am immune to FOMO, right? If something, I always think about this particular question in a relative fashion. So, for instance, if you say the price 10x, right? That was what you said. If I put $1,000 into it and it 10x, that's 10,000. I mean, it's nice, but it's not a generational wealth. So I will not feel like I'm missing out on something drastic. If it was a company where I know that if it was something I believed in initially, but then I was not able to put money in it, then I'll feel bad. But not for SpaceX. Like I don't intend to make generational wealth from it. So I'm not even thinking about buying in the first place. So if it goes up to 10x by the end of the year, I mean that's very nice for the people who bought in. But I wouldn't feel bad. I just be like, you win some and you lose some.
And if the price halves, so if it goes back to 780 billion valuation in the next 6 months, would you be buying then?
If it
Seeing as
goes
you've
to
already said it's a
Mm.
good company that is just expensive.
Oh yes, yes, yes. If it goes down to more sensible valuations, I think it's something that I would really consider. I am with as a science fiction fan and reader myself. I'm with Musk on expansion of human consciousness. I mean, I would like for us to first treat world hunger, right, and electricity and access to boiling to pipable water. But it's also nice for people to have greater aspirations, interplanetary aspirations. I think it's fantastic, right? So if it comes down to more sensible valuation, it's something I can definitely look into because I'm very excited. Well, I'm somewhat excited at the prospect of maybe in 40 years, 30 years, being able to afford taking a space flight, right? Even if it's just to the edge of the atmosphere. It's things like this. It's companies that SpaceX. It's companies like SpaceX that eventually make such possible with the economies of scale. So if it's something that comes down to a more ambitious, more sensible valuation, it's something that I can definitely look into.
Okay, thank you. Onome, do you have any questions for him before we let him go or bring in our next guest?
I have none.
Hello.
I agree with everything. I agree with everything he said. Maybe the only place I would differ would be um there's always the unknown side of things. In fact, I suspect that the firm may probably achieve its goals not because of Elon, or maybe because of environments around Elon. So when you look at everything Elon has done, fine, he did electric cars, he's done well, but he had a lot of support, right? There was a lot of government support. So
Yeah.
I suspect that if because the big question everyone keeps asking about AI is okay, it's an amazing thing, but how do we make money from this? Like, yes, there are productivity gains, but are they of the magnitude to make this money? So I suspect that if AI becomes a really huge thing, the influx of money we're seeing into AI, if AI really, the productivity gains really start to kick in, then they may be able to ride on that wave. But if it doesn't kick in,
Mm. But wait,
I don't know, they'll be
would
fine.
would they use the productivity? Oh, okay. The productivity gains on AI to achieve other ambitions like the mass thing.
Yeah, achieving
Okay.
other ambitions. So that might work. I mean, so because the thing about Elon is everybody knows Elon will promise you 10 things and maybe will execute two things. So that's kind of already cooked into the price. Um, so I guess I think he will ride on the wings of AI or ride on the wing of the SpaceX thing, and all. But beyond that, um, who knows? Who knows how it will go? Yeah.
I'm very excited to actually to I'm quite curious to see how it will go. I'm a big fan of the rockets of the like the well, I'm not a very big fan of the satellite internet because they are clogging up the airways with satellites all over. Like in like 40 years, there might be like 50,000 satellites and nobody can fly out of the earth anymore because everything there are just things everywhere. And I think I fancied I've actually looked up at the sky and seen two or three of those Starlink things at some point because when you look up on this on and you see anything like two or three stars that seem to be moving in alignment, you know that you are looking at something like Starlink. It's one of my beefs with him because I don't see how this is good for the environment. I am willing to bet that if it was a Russian company that started throwing like 30,000 satellites into near Earth orbit or something, the Americans would be like, "Oh, the environment, we have to protect the Earth," but because it's an American doing it, it's now seen as a way to further increase their hegemony. So these, aside from the lofty valuation, these are some of the things that I don't at all find attractive or nice about the company and its ambitions. For the Mars thing, yes. For the moon and the Mars thing, yes, as a moonshot, quite literally, because you want to go to Mars, you may not make it to Mars, but at least we can make it to the moon. And I, who have always wanted, who would like to go to the moon, will at least be able to go to near Earth orbit, right? Like when I'm 60 or 70. Aside that, I think the company does all right.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us, Martin. And
Yeah.
let's let you go. And I will let in our next guest
So
now.
thank you.
Okay. Think in typical IPO day fashion, I just got alerts while I'm observing the markets that Facebook and Instagram are down globally. I think someone is watching the live stream who is on the call as well.
Thank you.
Think in typical IPO day fashion, I just got alerts while I'm observing the markets that Facebook and Instagram are down globally. I think someone is watching the live stream who is on the call as well. Hello. Hello.
Hello, hi. Can you confirm that you can hear me?
Yes, I can. I can. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Okay. Okay. Hi, good afternoon. Hi, Oyemi. I think I can hear you in the background. I have an echo from one of you. Hello. Still the echo. I think
I don't
someone
know if
has
it's my
that.
mind. I don't know
Someone
if
has
it's
the
from my
tab
end.
open. Someone has the stream open on another tab, I think, while they are
Yeah,
now
I've
in the
closed.
call.
Yeah, I've closed it now. That was me, actually.
Okay. So, okay. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. Nice to meet you. I'm going to let both of you introduce yourselves, one after the other, and you can just get straight into business if that's okay. I know this is a holiday for you, so I'll try to keep it brief.
All right, let me just start. My name is Oyeyemi Kosoko, and I'm currently the head of marketing for ISA.
What is he, sir?
ISA is a stock trading app that was formerly known as Tracker,
Okay.
where you can
Thank you
buy
very
your
much.
Nigerian stocks, your US stocks, and for Kenyans they can buy the Kenyan stocks and the US stocks, basically.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. And Stephen?
Yeah, hi everyone. Stephen is my name, Stephen Fidelis. I'm a finance professional. Currently, I am the Chief Financial Officer of Best, and HISA, which Yemi mentioned earlier, is part of um, the Best ecosystem.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us on today. I think the first thing I want to ask is SpaceX live on HISA?
Yes, it is, and I it has been live since morning, basically since 10 a.m.
Okay. And have you bought? Will you be buying? Did you buy?
Okay, so prior to when the market opened for SpaceX, you could only place a limit order on HISA. Um, but once the market is open, right, you could place any kind of order, be it market order, be it a limit order. So you could literally just do a normal trade on SpaceX, right? Have I bought? I haven't bought actually, right? I want the entire buzz and noise around the IPO to settle. Being a fundamentalist, right? Yeah, I believe in the stock. I believe in the company. I believe in what they're trying to do. Essentially, they're trying to change the world. All right, they're trying to change.
Sure. Amy, you can continue while he's back, while we wait for him.
Oh, okay, yeah. So for me, I haven't bought yet, and but I will be buying today.
Okay. I think before, just to mention, the trading has started. So, Stephen, do you want to tell us what a limit order is?
Okay, apologies for that interruption. A limit order
No
is
problem.
essentially, yeah, you're placing a trade, but you are basically instructing your broker or giving your broker a certain limit that they should not go above. So in practical terms, if I'm placing an order for SpaceX, I could say I'm giving you a limit order of 135. What that means is that my broker will not buy at the price over and above that limit of 135, but could possibly buy below it if there's an opportunity to buy below it.
I think what I want to ask now, since you both run an investment platform, is for Nigerians and Kenyans who are your primary audience, what do they need to know about trading US IPOs, and why is trading an IPO different from normal day-to-day trading?
Yeah, sure. IPO comes with its own dynamics, right? Um, First is that prior to becoming a public company, these companies were primarily a private company, and whatever valuation they are coming at are more or less private valuations. These valuations were not a process of price discovery, right? They've not been subjected to market dynamics. They've not been subjected to trading, liquidity has not been tested, and all of that on those stocks. So what a typical investor needs to know about IPO is that, yeah, while the company might be good, solid fundamentally, um, IPOs in terms of pricing, they're usually priced to favor the selling shareholders, right? In terms of the money that they want to raise, right? Then again, on the day of going live, on the IPO day itself, it could be crazy, right? Most times because of the PR and the marketing that has gone into that particular IPO, you often see that on day one, most times you see the price jumping astronomically, right? That is why sometimes you find investors who doesn't want to participate in all of that, right? And they just want to let the entire thing cool off before they jump in.
Okay. Just
Yeah,
following up with you there as well. Okay, Yami, what do you want to add?
yeah. I also wanted to say, especially for people that are just buying or that are new to this market, I wanted to say that an IPO is not necessarily a guaranteed gain. What you are basically buying is the right to participate in a story that nobody has ever touched before, the public has not been able to see before, and then you believe that it has value, and it is a different kind of value than buying stocks at a discount. And especially for this stock, SpaceX IPO, which we are currently talking about, most people think it is just taking people to Mars and doing every other thing, but that is not it. This is three company in one. It is Starlink that is currently at 61% revenue. It is the space, we are going to the moon, and it is the AI. So all of this together are what you are buying, basically.
And when you put it that way, like Starlink, there are lots of analysts have said Starlink has a near monopoly in the market. There is AI, and they've come out with these AI deals with Anthropic and Google over the last week. And there's the space exploration company. When you put it this way, as these three individual companies who are probably near the top of their industries, why do people still think it's an expensive company to own?
Hmm. Yemi, do you want to take a stab at that, or want me
Y-
to?
you go first, then I would add to what you say.
Okay. Well, I would say that, and this is not financial advisory in any way, right? I would say
Yeah,
that,
we put all the disclaimers at the beginning. We can repeat it. Nothing we say here is tax, legal, financial advice. Everyone, please do your own research. This is strictly for entertainment purposes. Thank you.
yeah, great, great. So for these companies, you see that what they are trying to do is basically trying to change the world, and I mean that not metaphorically, but literally. They're trying to change the way we've traditionally done some things, right? You look at the component of space as it's a three in one, like Yemi mentioned. You have the connectivity aspect, which is the biggest part of the components, and then you have AI, and then you have space, right? If you look at what the connect what SpaceX is trying to do with the connectivity aspect is literally trying to provide connectivity to 8 billion people in the world, right? Um, I'm not sure anybody has attempted to do that kind of thing at that scale, right? So it's so much about buying into a future that has never really existed before now. So like Yemi mentioned, it's a story. They are trying to buy into a story. So yeah, you look at the pricing 135 per share, right? Most analysts agree that it's closer to 100. Okay, fine. Let's even say it's 100. You're buying at 135, that's like 35% premium above what you think is an intrinsic value. The question, therefore, is do you think that 125 premium, right? Or rather, the story these companies are trying to create, the future they're trying to create, do you think it's worth buying currently at 135 at 35% premium? That's the question I ask myself. And for me, I think it's a yes. It's a story I want to buy into, even at 35% premium.
Okay.
All right. So in addition to what he said, obviously there has to be. We have to also understand the other side of the story, which is the critical part of the story, and it is why is everybody always saying why should I buy this thing? It is because at ISA, one of the things that we do is try to educate our users and let them know why everything is. So basically, from the engine of the story, what is fueling this engine? What is fueling everything? Is Starlink. Do you get last year they generated 11.39 billion. They are 61% of the total SpaceX sales and the likes. The Grok, that's the AI part of the business, is currently losing money. It lost over 6.4 billion US dollars. The space business also is not generating as much money. So what that means in essence is that people are saying, oh, can you imagine? Starlink is what is fueling this engine. The um, it is basically the driver. So what happens if, for instance, there is a stall in Starlink growth, or the margin compresses, or the structure becomes fragile? So you can also understand the other side of the story. Is basically
Hmm,
what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very
interesting.
much for that. I think I wanted to also ask both of you a question. That was why I wanted you to be on the call as well. Over the last 12 months, there have been lots of also, I would say, mega IPOs like this. And what happens is brokerage firms, brokerage apps that are available to retail investors don't get access to these IPOs. I remember last year, for example, where many of us who thought we could get access to the Figma and Seco IPOs didn't get it on IPO day, and it became a meme on the internet.
Hmm.
You guys had Cerebras a few months ago, and that was the same case. So what happened this time? Why? And for context, I did not think I was going to get IPO allocation due to history, and then I'm being inundated with emails from all the brokers, even those that I've closed my accounts with, telling me that they can give me allocation to the biggest IPO in the world. I know it's 75 billion, which has been repeated. So what happened this time? Why do you have allocation?
Hmm. Well, let me just say a few things. Why do we have a well? I think the size of the pie is bigger, pretty much bigger. There's also this aspect of the key promoter behind the business, Elon Musk. I'm not quite sure those stickers you mentioned has a personality like Elon Musk backing them, right?
Okay.
You must give some credit to him. I mean, one of the things about investors is if they've done it before. I mean, again, trying to buy into a future story, right? You could literally want to give them um, the benefit of the doubt in this case also. So you would understand why everyone wants to be part of that story. Every broker is trying to get access for their users, for their clients. Um, I mean, there were discussion around pre-allocation before IPO. We through our partner brokers also try to get those pre-allocation right before now. But it does appear that our broker had some sort of delays in all of those process. But yeah, the IPO is live now. Anyone could literally buy at market price.
Okay. And then last question before I let you go is for someone who has never participated in a US IPO, what's the one thing you need them to understand?
Yeah, so IPO or equities in general is a variable income investments, right? So you need to first of all understand the nature of the asset class. Equities by nature, nothing is guaranteed, right? Yeah. So they are variable income asset class. They could go up or go down in value, right? So you need to understand first of all that's meaning of equities, right? Then specifically when it comes to IPO, like a company is listing for the very first time, what that means is that this company is unproven, right? Yes, this company is coming to the market for the first time. It's unproven, right? It is why you need to understand those backing it, the promoters, the nature of the business, yeah, the component part of those, yeah, whatever operating margin they have and all of that. It is why all of those dynamics are important, right? Before you say, I want to participate or not.
Okay. Thank you. Me, do you have anything to add as well?
Nothing from my end to add. He has finished it already. Apart from the part where you asked why exactly was this available, do you
Yes.
get? And where he mentioned Elon Musk. It's also interesting to know that this is the first time in history that we have that retail investors are this type of allocation. SpaceX deliberately reserved like 30% of the deal to retail investors, which is about 22.5%, 2.5 billion dollars in stock. So I don't think this has ever happened before. So and it is not incidental. Elon Musk throughout history has always been the kind of person to say, "Oh, I'm for the people." It was like that in the during the crypto era. It has been like that. So this is like telling them that, oh, we are all one and the same. So I think that is also one of the reasons. And just to conclude that SpaceX is now available on ISA, and you can go ahead and trade, do everything you can. We have good customer service to attend to you. Our brokerage fee is just $1. It's just
Okay.
1%.
One
So
percent, yeah.
Okay. So I also know you're having a giveaway today on who can accurately predict the closing price. I just refreshed my screen and I think the Nasdaq says they are getting bids at 175. So what is your closing price prediction for today? And how can
um,
people participate in this giveaway?
so it is currently on our Twitter and our Instagram.
Which,
There's a link
technically
attached.
speaking, Twitter is also going public again today.
Yeah.
Yes, so you can get the link, but you have to be a user, a ISA user before you put it. Put your email there and then just mention how much. And we are giving up to $1,000 to 5 users, which is $200 per user.
So what is your own prediction? So I can just copy your prediction and fill the form.
I work here, so I'm not going to win or I'm not going to predict. I'm just an umpire.
Okay. Steven, what is your own prediction?
Otome, I can see you laughing. Hi. Um, I want you to leave that to our users
Okay.
to predict. Yeah, but I
Okay.
mean, I'm very much open to whatever the stock closes today.
Okay.
What
Thank
do you
you.
think the stock is going to close with, though?
I I do not know. I do not know yet. So, Onama, do you have
So,
any
Since
estimate?
everybody is dodging the question, let me answer.
okay,
Please take
I
a
okay.
think it
stab.
will close. I can take a stab. I think it will close somewhere between 165 and 175.
All right.
Mm.
Okay.
That's a
So,
wide gap.
okay. So you heard it here. Onoma is predicting a 165, 175 gap closure, and you can go to the HISA Nigeria Twitter and Instagram page to fill the form and put those numbers, and maybe you can win $200. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your holiday.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Bye.
Okay. Onome left me. All right. And thank you everyone for joining the live stream. SpaceX is currently trading on all your brokerage apps. And thank you. This has been a joint production between FinTech is Easy and Green Ticker Till. Bye.